My husband's ex. Episode 4. What's going on here? Sophia, what's a man doing in a house I got you? Brad asked with so much bitterness and aggression as soon as he entered the house and saw Sophia standing next to a guy who was holding her hand lovingly. "Bah, baby, you're here?" Sophia stuttered as she turned to the direction of the voice, pulling out her hand from Jovani's hand and walking up to Brad. Brad pushed Sophia aside and walked up to Jovani, who was still trying to profile him. "Hello," Jovani said, stretching his hand towards Brad for a handshake. "Save me the unnecessary pleasantries, dude. I've just one thing to tell you." "Stay the heck away from my woman," Brad said, being all hostile. "Hey, slow down, man. I'm sure I haven't done anything to deserve this aggression," Jovani said good-naturedly. "Oh, please shut up. I walk into a house I got my woman, a place that is meant to be our sacred love nest, and find you clinging to her hand like a wet paper on a bottle, and you think you haven't done anything wrong. I don't care why you're here and what you plan to achieve with your annoying presence here, but the girl is mine, and you've got no reason showing your ugly face here again," Brad said, fighting dirty already. "When you said you got her this house, I see the truth in it. But to say the girl is yours, nigga, you're damn wrong about that. She's not yours, or you would have married her," Jovani said, making Brad turn sharply to look at Sophia. "For how long have you been snitching behind my back, Sophia? For how long have you let this poor thing creep into the luxury of a house I got to make you comfortable? Oh, you even had to tell him about the little issue that got me married to Emily?" Brad asked, sounding offended. "It's not what you think, baby. Jovani here must have heard me lamenting about how you couldn't take my calls because of your wife, someone that came in just yesterday," Sophia explained. "Sophia, I'll see you around. I've got to go now. Please do take care of yourself, and remember that you're worth more than being relegated to a second fiddle," Jovani said, and turned around to go. "You make me laugh, young man. Do you think she's some petty little girl you can deceive with those sweet talks? Sophia and I love each other, and apart from the fact that you can't give her the much I can, her heart will forever be mine," Brad bragged. "Wow, what a lucky dude you must be. You own her heart and that of your wife, and she's to own whose heart, if I may ask? Because clearly, your heart is certainly not hers, otherwise you won't let her remain on the lonely path I found her, because you couldn't take her calls in your wife's presence," Jovani fired, ready to fight as dirty as Brad wanted. He turned to Sophia once again. "Please, Sophia, don't let yourself remain an object of play when you can be treasured rightly. You may choose not to see how much I can care for you, but please stay away from the one who doesn't care for you one bit. And to you, mister, it'll interest you to know that the place you call a luxury home you got her is nowhere what she deserves. I'm not the type to bluff, but the duplex I occupy now is way bigger than this. Plus, I only asked my estate agent to give this out to a tenant because I didn't have use for it. And since you're given to being petty, I may as well refund your rent and ask you out of this place," Jovani told Brad before he sauntered out. "Did you see that? No, Sophia, did you see the embarrassment you got me today? I left here for a couple of hours, and all you could do was get that good for nothing so close that you even told him about our personal stuffs. I'm so disappointed, Sophia. If I had ever been told that you'd behave this way, I would have fought the person," Brad fumed. "Look, Brad, I know it seems like I let you down. It seems like I did something wrong by letting Jovani come into this house. But baby, you left me there in the dark when I really needed you, and that gave him the opportunity to get close through the help he rendered. For how long am I going to be like this? For how long am I going to stay without you on the nights I need you in my bed and the days I need your help? This dude you saw here was only able to get close to me because you left me vulnerable and unattended to. My car broke down in a dark and lonely place, yet you refused to take my calls because you were with the one you love, right?" Sophia complained. "I was with my wife, Sophia. How was I supposed to take your calls when she was sitting next to me telling me about all the strange things that has been happening to her because of her pregnancy? I love you, Sophia, but you know I can't let my wife know about us, especially not now that she's pregnant and risk making her riled up enough to pose a threat to her and the unborn child," Brad said brashly. Wow. She's pregnant and can't be made to face anything that can pose a threat to her and the pregnancy. If the one who you don't love is given this much care because she's pregnant and I whom you love so much didn't get any trace of care when I took in, shouldn't I wish not to be loved, Brad? Sophia fired, getting jealous and angry at the way Brad was talking about the one he said he married just for the inheritance. Brad knew he had gone overboard, but he didn't know what to do about Sophia's outburst. So he simply switched to his ever-effective emotional blackmail. Okay, baby, I didn't mean it that way, but can't you see? I can't stand the thought of you being in close proximity with another man. It makes me want to die. Please, baby, don't ever let that guy come anywhere close to you again. I may not be able to survive a heart attack if things go wrong, Brad said. Brad, you don't know how I feel those nights when I sleep on our big bed without you. Like he said, if I really meant a thing to you, Brad, you would have married me. If you cared even just a bit for me, you would have agreed to my plea for you to make me a second wife. Just a title. Enough to make me be able to go home to my mother and be free from the constant chasing from other men. Please, baby, make me your second wife and let me have the joy of being with you without having to duck every time the mention of your wife comes up, Sophia begged. We've been through this before, Sophia. I've told you that I can't marry you before. And now that my wife is pregnant, I just can't make her know of your existence. Sophia, I can't. Ask me to increase your allowances, ask me to spend more time with you, and you know I'll willingly do all for you. But please don't ask me to marry you because I can't, Brad said in frustration. By the time he finished speaking, Sophia was already sobbing uncontrollably. She looked up at him, looked at herself again, and her mother's words came ringing in her head again. The more she cried, the more she recalled how things had started and how she had messed her life up, letting him lead her into premarital sex, then abortion, and now into adultery. She brushed his hands off her shoulders as he tried to hold her again. She knew what he wanted, to take her to bed and make her feel like everything was okay. I'm sorry, Brad, but I can't go on like this. I was hoping that with time, you'd see the need to give me a title, but you have just said you can't marry me, and that means you will never think of making things right between us. What happens to me now if I get pregnant? What becomes of the child and me? Will you also ask me to abort again? Sophia asked. You won't get pregnant, baby. I know you can't. Please, baby, let's stop arguing, can we? Brad said in a hurry, his desire to take her to bed, overriding his sense of reasoning. Brad, I'm taking a walk if you do not wish to give me a title. No matter what you say now, if you don't marry me, I'll go my way, Brad. Wait a minute. Did you say you know I can't get pregnant? What was that, Brad? She asked, her eyes popping out. Brad opened his mouth to speak, but his phone buzzed. Hello, baby, what's up? Brad spoke into his phone's receiver, walking towards the window. Sophia felt fresh hot tears rolling down her face as she thought of the many possible things that could have made Brad say what he had said, and all the possible answers she got made her cry the more. If he has any fertility issues, his wife won't be pregnant so quickly. Did anything go wrong with the abortion I had? She thought as she stealthily slipped out of the door while he spoke with his wife. Yes, baby, I didn't know I was going to be away. I just planned to get you the stuffs you asked for. But I ran into a business associate who insisted that we met with an old friend of his for a possible business collaboration, Brad explained sweetly, thinking of how to quickly get her off the phone and get down with Sophia. He hadn't touched Sophia in days, and his body was itching for her. So he had to make all the excuses he could to be able to stay back that night. Plus, there's also the other guy who is making Sophia begin to question his choice of level of commitment for their relationship. He needed to stay back with her for some days, take her to bed, fund her bank account with some more money, and she'd be all good again, he thought. He ended his call with Emily and turned around with the hope of finding Sophia, but she wasn't there. She wasn't standing in absolute silence as she usually did when he spoke with his wife. Did she go up to her room? He imagined and raced up to find her, but the room was as empty as the sitting room. Sophia! Sophia! Brad screamed, searching everywhere for her, his heart pounding anxiously. Did she go away with that dude? But he had already left before my wife's call came in. I don't even know what to think, he muttered in frustration. He picked up his phone again and dialed her number. The phone began to ring in the house, telling him she walked out without her phone. He recalled that Sophia had told him the guy lived next door. Why the hell did that agent get me a house with a bachelor living next door? Why didn't I notice that guy on time and keep my girl away from him? Brad thought in pains as he walked towards Jovani's duplex. He rang the bell and waited for Jovani to answer the door. His plans was to rush into the house and find Sophia himself, for he was assuming that she'd be hiding in Jovani's house. That must be him. Look, Sophia, I haven't asked you to leave him for me. No, I'm not saying you must consider my interest in you. But you must face the reality that the man Brad isn't yours. He is legally married to another and has no plans to make you a wife. This can only mean one thing: he doesn't love you or knows something that makes you unfit for marriage. Either way, you need to walk out that door and boldly tell him the truth. You must let him know you're no longer ready to be a second fiddle. Let him know you're no longer interested in his love for your body when he can't make you his. Jovani told Sophia. And what if he hurts himself because I refuse to remain by his sides? Sophia asked. Sophia, that guy doesn't love you enough to let a hair fall from his head. As a matter of fact, I don't believe any sane man can hurt himself because of a broken relationship. It is only delusional to imagine that he can keep you trapped forever with that cheap emotional blackmail, he told Sophia. And if he withdraws all his financial support? If he asks me to leave that duplex and takes away the car and every other thing? Sophia asked, expressing one of her major worries about severing ties with Brad. Then I'll give you a job that will make you entitled to an official car and apartment. And also, if you wish to retain the duplex you occupy now, all I'd need is have my lawyers terminate the tenancy contract I have with him, and the house will become your official apartment. Note that I'm willing to do all these even if you do not accept my love proposal. Yes, I like you enough to help you escape this bondage he has put you into even if I don't get to have you by my sides. Go now, go speak to him, Jovani told her, pocketing his 2 hands as he spoke. Brad just raised his hand to press the doorbell again when he saw Sophia at the door. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Sophia, you now answer his door. Tell me, for how long have you been sleeping around? You dare stand in front of me after running out of our house to come meet your boyfriend while I am still around, Brad screamed at her. Brad, I do not have the strength to argue with you. I don't even intend to. You have said you do not want me as a wife, and I do not wish to continue to sleep with someone's husband. So I left. I left because I do not want to have anything to do with you ever again. It's over between us. And don't you dare come up with those filthy lies about harming yourself if I leave you, because I'm wiser now. Goodbye, Brad, Sophia said. You wish, Brad said, dragging Sophia by her hair as she turned to go inside Jovani's house again. Sophia, you're mine, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. I have been trying to be cool with you, but it appears you want it the hard way. You're coming with me now, or you'll be seeing a side of me you have never seen before. If you make me say it again, Brad said, pulling her hard on her hair. You're hurting me, Brad. Let my hair go, Sophia cried. And I'll do much more if you don't follow me at once. When I got you this duplex, it was for us to have the comfort and privacy of satisfying our needs. I didn't bring you here to snoop around with some random estate manager, posing as a house owner, Brad said with so much hostility. Let me go, Brad. I don't want you again. Are you going to compel me into staying with you? Sophia asked in pains. Yes, Sophia, I'm going to force you. I'm going to force you back into that house and do what I came here to do. I came here to have a feel of your body, and I'm not getting stopped by a stupid dude who just wants you for his selfish desires, Brad said. Let the lady go now, Mr. Brad. She has just told you she doesn't want you anymore. I do not want to consider the unnecessary insults you've given me, but I may not be able to let you off easily for having the effrontery to get physical with a lady you have done nothing but toyed with her time. What do you know about selfish desires? You have 30 seconds to let her go or you'll, Jovani was saying. Or you'll do what? What will you do? What are you going to do? Brad said, letting Sophia go with a rough shove and walking up to Jovani with so much aggression. Get off my face now, guy. Jovani spat between clenched teeth, his fist already balled and ready to attack. Damn you, Brad screamed, hitting Jovani hard on his mouth. Ouch! No, oh, Sophia screamed in fear as he watched blood trickle down Jovani's mouth in an instant. Jovani lifted his left hand, wiped the blood from his mouth while looking at Brad with so much pity. You hit me in my house, Mr. Brad? He asked him in an ice-cold and calm voice. Yes, sucker, and I'll do more if you do not stay off my affairs with my woman. Now, Sophia, get out of this house now, Brad barked. Sophia, please go upstairs. I need to talk to Brad in a language he'll understand. Go now, Sophia, Jovani told Sophia, gently pushing her inside to enable him shut the door. Brad pushed to kick the door, but Jovani had tightly held his hand, pulled him close to himself, and delivered a powerful headbutt on his face, breaking the space between his left eye sac and his cheekbone at once. Now that's for tricking this girl into staying back after you married the woman you love. If you leave now, you may escape getting the one for daring to get physical with her, Jovani told Brad while still grinding his teeth in obvious anger. Brad's hand flew to his face in shock. His eyes were wide open and his mouth suddenly dry. You have 10 more seconds to move. 1, 2, 3. Jovani began to count. Brad's phone began to buzz in his pocket, making the two guys quiet at a time. He brought out his phone to see who it was, and was shocked to see that his wife was still calling at that time of the night. Usually, after he had settled her with his fool's-proof lies, she never bothered him. Why was she calling? He wondered, running towards his car. Hey, babe, he forced himself to say, suppressing the pains he was getting from the cut on his face. You've got to rush home now. I'm not feeling good at all, Emily cried over the phone. I'm on my way now, Brad answered quickly and stepped on the pedal, racing madly home. What's this? What happened to you? Emily screamed in fear the moment her husband got into their bedroom. I was attacked on my way back here. I didn't plan to come home again today because I knew I was going to have a very long meeting, but I had to rush all the way home when you said you were not feeling well. I fell into the hands of some hoodlums, and if I hadn't been a fierce man myself, those guys would have killed me today, Brad lied. God forbid. I can never be a widow at this my age. I was calling you because I was hungry and couldn't eat any of the things in the house. I wanted you to make me something to eat. Who would have thought you'd return looking this hurt? Emily complained. It's okay, my love. You know I can do anything for you. I'll go fix you something now, he told her and rushed off to the kitchen. Didn't I tell Audrey? I knew Brad wasn't cheating. I just wanted to do what she asked me to do to show her she wasn't right. And now, she has made me call my husband into the hands of hoodlums. But how could she even imagine that a husband as loving and caring as Brad would ever think of cheating, let alone cheating in the real sense of it? Emily thought with a frown. That night, after Jovani sent Brad away, he went inside his house to find Sophia crying bitterly. He could understand that she was feeling very sad, but he didn't know why he felt like crying as he saw her in that state. He walked up to her, pulled her into a warm embrace, patting her back as he tried to pacify her. Sophia, I know you think you love him, it's written all over you, but you just have to let go that which doesn't belong to you, because you shouldn't be loving someone that doesn't love you. Brad doesn't love you. It's the hard truth. I am not a saint, but I'd never let the woman I love watch me marry another for whatever reason. Think about it. How come he decided to marry her because his aunt chose her over you, when his supposedly wicked aunt didn't even know about your traditions that prohibited you from getting married before your elder sister? I am a man, so I can tell for free that this dude is fighting just to keep you for selfish reasons. He doesn't want to marry you because he doesn't want to hurt his pregnant wife. Have you thought of what will then become of you when you get pregnant under these circumstances? Jovani asked Sophia. Sophia raised her face when she heard him talk about pregnancy. her heart skipping a beat as she thought of what Brad had told her before. How can I even tell that I can get pregnant? Brad had been so sure that I won't get pregnant. I just don't want to believe something had gone wrong with the abortion he made me have. Sophia cried again. What? He got married to another and made you have an abortion? What were you thinking, Sophia? Letting a married man keep you as a sex tool and making you get an abortion while his wife nurses her own pregnancy? Jovani asked, unable to contain his anger. Sophia pulled out from his hand and walked over to the couch closest to her. She sat down dejectedly, feeling very foolish for all she had made herself go through for love so unsure. Jovani sat beside her, looking at her incredulously as she narrated how it all happened. He couldn't believe that a girl as beautiful and young as Sophia could let herself be treated so poorly, because she was desperate to get married. Sophia, I don't want to judge you, no. I can't, for even I have been where you were. I have been a fool for love, and you really do not want to hear all that I had to do for this thing called love. But the thing is, after I found out how far gone I was on the wrong lane, I turned back, Sophia. I engaged the reverse gear to get out of the wrong track, and worked to have a chance to get back on the right lane. This is what you need to do. You need to get things right by getting back on the right lane, now that you have left the wrong path, he told her. Things are never going to be the same again, Jovani. I'm never going to be happy again. How do I start again? Where do I start from? Oh, Brad, you have ruined me. You led me into premarital sex, got me pregnant, and made me succumb to your pressure to abort. Yet you married someone else and made me a perpetual side chick. If only I had listened to my mother when she asked me to leave you. If only I had understood why she wanted me far away from you. So your wife is pregnant now and can't be hurt, but I don't even know if I can get pregnant with the way you sounded so sure about my inability to conceive. How do I face my mother now? Sophia cried. It's easy, Sophia. You go home and tell her everything. She's your mother and she will understand. She's the only one who can truly guide you selflessly right now. I care about you and will most certainly not want to see you face another problem. I have promised to do all I can to see that you don't miss Brad. But you know I'll not be totally neutral in my doings because I want you to be mine. I'll naturally want to do things that will favor me, things that will make you and I possible. But your mother, she'll help you unconditionally. She'll do all she can to ensure you get the best, without expecting anything from you, Jovani told her. I can't go home. My mother will kill me. I know her and what she's capable of doing, Sophia lamented. Forget it, Sophia. She'll surely be angry with you, but she can't kill you. She'll even be glad to have you back. Please, Sophia, listen to me, and let me help you get things right, he told her. He got Sophia to agree with him after so much argument, but he was glad she decided to listen to the voice of reasoning, howbeit with swollen eyes because of her long hours of cries. He held her close until she fell asleep and carried her carefully to the big bed in his bedroom. Sleep, pretty one. There's really no need to hurry, for you'll still be mine eventually, he soliloquized as he turned around to go to the guest room. And so it was that grudgingly but eventually, Jovani took Sophia home to see her mother the next day. Mrs. Chaik was bringing out the clothes she washed to dry on the lines outside her house when she saw a flashy Rolls-Royce pull up close to her. Did Meg and her husband return to the country in just a few months of their departure? She wondered as she stood looking at the car. The driver's door opened and a dashing young man stepped out. Mrs. Chaik became more perplexed as he saw the young man who had come out of the car. It wasn't Meg's husband. Good morning, Mama, Jovani greeted respectfully before he turned around to open the passenger's door for Sophia. It's okay, Sophia. We already agreed to do this. Come on, let's face it now, Jovani coaxed gently, seeing how she was hesitant about getting out of the car. She looked up at Jovani and drew strength from his eyes and the powerful aura around him. She stepped out of the car, and her mother let out a loud scream. Who is this? What are you doing in my house? Turn around and disappear now, she shouted, walking furiously towards Sophia. Mommy, beat me, scold me, and do anything else, but please don't chase me away. Please, Mommy, I have suffered so much for disobeying you. Please don't chase me away. Sophia cried, crawling on her knees towards her angry mother. Jovani stepped aside to let the mother and daughter do their thing. He had envisaged the mother to be very furious at Sophia's appearance, but he also knew she'd naturally calm down when she sees how sober her daughter was. Sophia remained on her knees, crying and begging her mother, until she allowed her come into the house with Jovani. Jovani had tears in his eyes, watching the mother and daughter cry as they talked about what had happened and how things had gone so wrong. Sophia told her mother everything that had happened between her and Brad, starting from how she was compelled into premarital sex that culminated in an unwanted pregnancy. She told her mother about the abortion and how she had met Emily the very day Brad married her. Jovani had his left hand over his mouth as he heard her tell her mother how Brad made her go to stealth mode whenever he spoke with his wife, and how for the sake of the luxury he offered her, she couldn't let him go, even though she was tired of the state he had relegated her to. "Thank you, Mr. Jovani, for helping rescue my daughter. Thanks for being the agent of change that made my daughter return to me. But you must understand that I can't welcome you with open arms now. My daughter needs time to heal and think with her emotions in proper condition before she knows what to do next with her life. She just can't rush into another relationship with you now," Mrs. Chaik declared after crying for so long with her daughter. "I understand, ma'am, and I'm willing to wait. I'm glad she had been able to get back into your arms. Mine won't be wearied from having to stay outstretched and wait," Jovani told Mrs. Chaik. He thanked her for accepting Sophia back, and only left after he had given Sophia some money to get a new phone and to get some other things she may need. "Hello, boss. I'm sorry I didn't call as promised. I was very busy with mother throughout the day. How are you?" Sophia asked Jovani over the phone as she sat on her bed, pulling off her sneakers. She had been out all day with her mother and had just returned when he called again. She promised to return his call when he called her earlier, but she hadn't had a moment of rest since morning. It's been over 5 months since Jovani helped her get out of the bondage Brad entrapped her into, and in all of these times, Jovani had managed to remain a gentleman, letting her heal from the pains of the failed relationship and getting back on her feet as an independent woman. As he had promised the night he had the confrontation with Brad, Jovani got Sophia gainfully employed, giving her the opportunity to earn a living and adjust her reasoning on financial benefits-based relationships. Jovani had offered her the official car and apartment as he promised, but Sophia had to reject the house because her mother insisted she didn't need a house alone, when she was still hurting from a failed relationship. Jovani worked in a different branch of his company, but he got to see Sophia every lunchtime, during which they just ate and talked about general stuffs. He would drive to her branch and get her to join him in the staff canteen, where they ate like friends. He liked the Sophia he was seeing, and was beginning to get convinced it was time to get things right between them. But his fears of what she'd say was keeping him from moving in bold steps. So he called her earlier that day to know if she could see him at the end of the day's work. But she had said she was very busy and would return his call later. "I would be better if you stopped calling me boss. For Christ's sake, Sophia. I've told you to call me by my first name," Jovani complained. "And I've told you before, I won't be able to adjust to calling you anything else, because you're my boss and would remain so even if you fire me today," Sophia insisted. "Oh, really? So the fact that I was first your friend before I offered you that job doesn't matter?" Jovani asked. They argued some more, and as usual, Sophia insisted on calling him boss. Jovani stopped arguing with her because he didn't call her to talk about what she called him. He called to see how he could invite her to a date, and he was hell-bent on getting her agree to go out that day and avail him the opportunity to say what he needed to say before the courage evaporated. Sophia was very tired and planned to take a nap as soon as she got home, but with the boss asking her out that night, something he hadn't done for so long, she was anxious to know why he seemed edgy all day. "Mum, my boss invited me for a date tonight, and I really didn't see a reason to turn him down, so I'd be leaving in the next 30 minutes. Is there something you need me to prepare for you before I go out?" We have rice that you can microwave later. But I don't know if you'd want me to prepare something else for you, Sophia asked her mother. No, Sophia, I'll be fine. You may go. But please be careful. Mr. Jovani appears to be a good person, but we never can be too careful. Don't let same stump claim 2 pots from you, Sophia, her mother advised. You're right, mother. I will be careful, Sophia promised her mother before she ran inside to get prepared. Sophia got into an exquisitely simple but good-looking gown, one of the beautiful and expensive clothes he had got her the last time he visited her. She was anxious to meet him where he asked her to see him, but also afraid of getting her hopes so high that he would ask her out. They have remained friends for so long that Sophia was beginning to get tired of seeing him treat her like a little sister. He'd just visit her, get her some good gifts, and go home after speaking about so many things without as much as venturing into personal issues between both of them. Her mother had told her it was a good thing that Jovani wanted them to study each other as friends, and let her get over her failed relationship before he got closer to her in any form of intimacy. But she was tired of waiting for him to make the move. When Sophia got out of the house, ready to head towards the place he asked her to meet him up, she least expected Jovani to be sitting in his car, waiting for her outside their house. The shocks expressed, the happiness shown, and they were on their way to an entirely different location. He had asked her to meet him in one of the eateries close to her house, but Jovani was soon walking her into a 5-star hotel where he had made a reservation for a special table for them. Jovani wanted them to sit to a candlelit dinner while he asked her to be his girlfriend. He knew she was cool as a girl, but was afraid of getting a no. So he felt the ambience of a romantic candlelit dinner could lend credence to the love emitting from his pores. The possibility of getting a no scared him to no ends because in all the time they've been together as friends, she never really showed any sign of being interested in him. Yes, he could tell that she saw him nothing more than a friendly employer. Aren't you full of surprises, boss? She asked him as she walked hand in hand with him into the special table he had ordered at the poolside. Jovani grunted in response, walking on like he didn't find what she said a compliment. Boss my foot, he thought. They were soon seated and their meals served, but Jovani wasn't there to eat. And from the looks of things, neither was Sophia, for she was toying with and sniffing her food without eating. Sophia, I've been waiting. I've been watching and I've been wanting to tell you this for so long, but I needed to be sure you weren't giving me a yes because you were running away from your hurt. I didn't want a yes because you needed me for financial gains or because you needed me to prove a point to someone. Yet, I've been afraid to ask because I do not know how I'd carry on if you give me a no. But then, I realized how dangerous it is for me to remain on the fence. Yes, Sophia, it would be pure cowardice to keep on watching you go to lunch with me and return to the office without asking you to kiss me, when my heart and soul desperately need that kiss. Please, Sophia, will you be my woman? Will you let me be the one for you? Will you let me hold your hands without having to act like I don't feel a thing? Will you let me kiss your lips and quit with the imaginations and dreams of how it'd taste? Jovani asked Sophia, holding her hands and looking into her eyes. Sophia had been waiting for this day. She had been hoping that he didn't somehow lose interest in her after finding out about her past. But now that he asked, fresh fears grew in her heart. What if she allowed him into her heart, and he hurt her like she was hurt before? What if he abandons her when she had made him her all? Jovani watched her expressions falter, and he could tell that she had fears, and those fears were likely going to stand in the way of his happiness. See, boss, she began, but Jovani hushed her. He knew what she was going to say, and he knew his heart wasn't prepared for a no. Please don't say it, Sophia. Please don't say a word. I can give you more time to think about all of these. But please don't say no now. I know what you have been through. I told you my story as well, Sophia, but I understand that you are not me. And you can't react in exact same way as I do to situations. But can I hug you, Sophia? Please don't say no to Sophia. Can you let me hold you close to me, not like I have held you in the past months as a sister, but as the one I love and the one I'm waiting and wishing for her to see how much I love her? he asked, and Sophia, who was trying to control the tears welling up in her eyes, gave a nod, afraid that she'd choke on the lump in her throat. Jovani hugged her tightly to himself, his eyes shut and his soul soaring in joy as she rested her head on his broad chest. Jovani's powerful arms were around her as firm and sure as his resolve to keep her forever. But he noticed someone shoot him dagger stares opposite him, causing him to stiffen suddenly. Who could have been shooting Jovani dagger stares? Will this ruin things for Sophia and Jovani? Find out what happens next in the next episode. If you're new here, please click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to get notified when I post the next episode. Don't forget to leave a comment to tell us what you think about Sophia and Jovani's pair.